Hello and welcome to round 2 of the Parenting Roundabout podcast. I'm Catherine Haleko and I'm here with Terri Morrow. Say hi, Terri.
Hello.
Usually on this podcast, we talk about parenting issues, but once a week, Terri and I like to get together to discuss TV, movies, books, and other entertainment topics because it's nice to talk about something other than parenting for a change. So this week, we are watching an episode of The West Wing, and we will also be seeing Bradley Whitford again in his sitcom Trophy Wife.
Yeah.
But first, Dancing with the Stars. So week 2, another two athletes sent home.
Man, when they named those last, the 3 that were in jeopardy, and then they said 2 had to go home, I was like, what? No.
Yeah. And then they said next week it's going to be 3.
Oh, really? I thought they might leave 4 for the next for the last week, but it's going to be 3, huh?
Yeah, so it's going to be 3, so that'll be down to 3 remaining, right?
Yeah.
Because there's 6 left right now.
So. I just don't know about this season.
Yeah, it's hard.
This may be an experiment that we'll never want to do again. It's really too bad because there's people who would be interested. Although, I mean, I was sorry to see Enrique go.
Yeah.
I liked her, and I would have liked to learn more about her and see her, because she did so much better this week. I'd like to see her grow, but at the same time, she's got so much going on, you know?
Right.
Go home and take your finals, babe. It's like, you had a good time. That's fine. Plus, which, last week we were thinking that the reason she wasn't so involved in the promotion was because she was in school. But since then we saw an article that it's because of NCAA rules severely limiting how much she could promote her participation in this. Right. So with all that stuff against her, it's like,
right.
Here's your lovely parting gifts. Thank you for playing.
She may be relieved.
I don't feel too bad. And Kareem was on borrowed time anyway. But
yeah, and everybody loved him, and he seemed, he's obviously a legendary person, and he seemed like a good sport and a fun person to be around. But when there's only 4 weeks and there's only 10 people,
that's right.
He can't be taking up a spot. I'm sorry.
Well, they got in there. I know that Lindsay is going to find some way to be the same height as him.
Right.
Dance just in time. I never thought about her sitting on somebody's shoulders. That was hilarious.
When I first noticed that, wait a minute, Lindsay's legs are 10 feet long. What's going on? And then I realized, there's somebody under there.
It's not particularly graceful, but it was hilarious. And good for them.
And it was quite impressive by, who did they say it was? Haley,
yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. Good for them for figuring something out for that. But,
and making sure to use it in week 2 because
yes,
there probably was not going to be a week 3.
Borrowed time.
Right.
So that was a rough elimination. I was surprised that the softball player didn't go first.
Yeah.
But she doesn't seem that comfortable with the whole thing. Boy, did they not do her any favors with that package. She'll be gone next week. That was aggressively... We're ready for her to go.
Yeah. Because she messed up our music choice.
She looked, and I thought they made Mariah look a little bad too with the, I only got, what did she get? Was crying over her 7s and 8s or?
Yeah.
That
they made her look like kind of a, first they made her seem kind of, like you said, sort of overly competitive, but also kind of ditzy.
Yes, definitely ditzy.
She's like, I'm just a valley girl.
Yeah.
Come on.
That is not going over well on all the message boards and the chats that I follow. A lot of people can't stand her. And I think she seems fine. She seems a lot younger than 25. Somebody said she was 25. But, that's who she is. What is she supposed to do?
Right. And P.S.
Take elocution lessons along with the dance lessons so that you're not bothered by her accent.
Who has time for that? Nathan Chen was in the audience sitting right next to Meryl Davis. They did not point him out. And the only reason they pointed Meryl out was because Mirai did it.
Yeah.
Like,
that
if
was
you're
weird.
going to have these famous people, like, maybe let us know that they're there.
Weird. That was a weird night. Once again, the opening spot is the spot of death. As I felt with Chris last week, I thought Josh's scores were low, given the scores that people who did as well as or less well than him were getting later in the night.
A lot less,
yes.
I felt.
Yes, I thought I was really surprised at how low his scores were when they said them. And then when people were getting 8s and 9s for doing not that much,
right,
it started to tick me off. These are the things that, whether the producers of this show are as Machiavellian as some people give them credit for, those are the kind of things that make you think, gee, I bet Josh got a lot of votes because he did really well at the end of the show last week, and so they have to give him low scores. And conversely, I bet Tanya didn't get a lot of votes, and so they're giving her high scores. There's never that much rhyme or reason for the voting, but those teams did not seem to be evenly chosen. So, I don't know.
Yeah, and I definitely thought the football playing team did a lot better.
Well, they did a lot better, but also I think they had more skill to work with, but they didn't do anything football-y at all. The tennis people did a lot of tennis-y stuff.
True.
They needed the gimmicks a little more, but they did a lot of tennis-y stuff. The football, it was just they could have just been disco was their theme. Every now and then they threw a football.
The only football thing was their padded pants.
Yes. So I felt they should have got docked for that, because somebody made a big deal about the way they used the tennis theme so well. And then I expected somebody to call the football dance on that, and they did not. They could not.
I thought that the football one was better executed, but the tennis one was cleverer.
Right. They also had much peppier music for the football one than the tennis one. It just all seemed kind of weighted to me. Yeah. But as you know, I am not team figure skater, so I seems like perhaps the producers are. But I don't even Adam and Mariah are fine. I don't care. I really would not like Jenna to get a mirror ball before, say, Sharna. That doesn't seem right. Or any of the people who've been on it longer. It just doesn't seem like her turn. But I guess that's not fair. It's supposed to be based on the celeb and not the pro. She bothers me.
But the pro has to, they're supposed to be there to coach them. So you kind of have to judge what they're doing too, right?
Yeah. Something about her is off-putting to me. But I don't know. I thought there were a lot of fairly decent dances, especially considering the ridiculously squashed time frame.
Yes.
Rashad, it was nice having Rashad back. I enjoyed having him there, even though his scores made even less sense to me than others. He scored some people really low who I thought deserved higher, and vice versa.
Yes.
So perhaps he got his paddles mixed up. I don't know. But
he just really wanted a chance to use that Mickey Ears paddle that he had.
He did.
It's like, I'm giving this to somebody I don't know. I got this thing here. I need to use it.
Yeah. And so David Ross is going to be the guest judge next week.
Right.
I hear. So it's apparently having your old partner come on to judge is the kiss of death, because Emma got eliminated last week and Lindsay got eliminated this week. So neither guy had to judge his former partner. Fishy.
Oh, wow. Fishy. Always room for conspiracies. Yes.
I liked Chris's dance. I thought he did really well. And I was also amused because he was talking about having ADHD in their package, which I sort of feel like, do we really need that in the packages? But then I was thinking, boy, is losing the sport for someone with ADHD. Not a lot of opportunity to lose focus there.
Right. It's lasting for, a minute and a half.
Exactly.
And if you mess up, you're going to go careening into a wall of ice.
Exactly. So, that's the kind of thing you need. Forced focus for an extremely short period of time. The man found the right sport, for sure.
There you go.
But for for somebody who is not a dancer and presumably has little to no experience in this, I think he's doing terrific. I hope he was artificially in Jeopardy group.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I give him a lot of votes.
I mean, who knows how they...
Yeah, who knows?
How they do that.
I really feel like they were trying to torpedo Josh this week, though.
I like Josh.
I liked him, too.
But I also, they're saying how, he has to go back for football training. Okay. What are they doing? Isn't that just in a gym? Couldn't he do that in LA? And couldn't they give him a couple days off because he is working out doing the dancing?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
One would think. It's 4 weeks.
Does he really need a football field to do whatever training they're doing now when it's months before the season? I don't think so. Yes, that's true. That seems a little unlikely. But I don't know. It's I enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching it. The scoring is useless. But it made no sense. Other than, the suspicion that, on these weeks where you voted the week before for who's going to go home this week, they know who won the popular vote. So theoretically, if one were a conspiracy theorist, they could jimmy the scores to make the person go home that they want, or the person stay that they want, more likely. They're hanging on to Tanya for sure. Yeah.
At least she wasn't, she was not playing the pity card again this week, which is good. Find new things to do. But I'm still not interested in her. Yeah. They used their footage that they had of Alice and Janney. Did you see that? No, I didn't. I missed that. Yeah. Probably during her package, I think, when she was reminiscing about last week, they made sure to show us. Oh, yeah, you bet. Alice and Janney. Well, I wish Sasha well, but she could be in the group next week. But so so after next week, there's only going to be 3 people left. So we're going to hope that they're Chris, Josh, and I would pick Adam. Yes, you would. What are you going to do? There's only you would have to pick Jenny. Who else would it be? You're that's going to have to pick Jenny. That's true. Because the rest are figure skaters. Yeah. Well, it's not going to be Jenny. They torpedoed her pretty good with that song thing. So, unless she has a huge fan base somewhere. Yeah. Or people are just taking massive pity on Keo and his bad luck. But, I guess I'm sure Adam will be in the finals. Chris and Josh would be my other 2 picks. Josh may have a hard time overcoming the hole that the judges dug him this week, though. And since he went first, people will be less likely to remember to vote for him. Right. So, but I won't forget. I voted for him. I'm voting for him too. Trying to decide if I want to give Chris more votes because he was artificially in jeopardy, or Josh more votes because he got torpedoed by the judges. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll go back and forth. All right. Well, stay tuned, everyone. Come back next week. We will discuss who is left. Yes. In this very short season. Short. That's true. At least you don't have to endure it for long if somebody that you don't like is doing well. Right. Yeah, it took me the whole entire hour or 2 hours of this. I was trying to remember who the second person was that got eliminated last week. Yeah. I already forgot. It was Johnny Damon. I remembered the snowboarder and Jamie, and I was like, it was a guy. That's all I know. Yes. It took me a real long time to remember. They fade particularly fast. Yes. Yeah. This kind of speed round thing may not They should not try this again. But I guess it's better than nothing. Is it better than nothing? I guess it's better than nothing.
Yeah, I think so. And I do think it's the all athlete thing is kind of a good thing, because then you don't get the that person's a ringer because they're an athlete thing.
Yeah, well, no, you get that person's a ringer because they're a figure skater. I think that they need to have a season of all figure skaters and gymnasts of similar vintage. Within a 5-year age span.
That may be a little too narrow.
Okay, a 10-year age span
for the world.
But then there would be no cries of ringer. They would all be equally wrung.
That's true. Well, we'll see.
They could easily do when they do a season that's like past winners or participants.
Oh,
they could definitely put a season of it together with past people.
Right.
All right.
Well, we'll talk about it more next week.
Yes, we will. And not much past that.
Yeah.
We interrupt this podcast to remind you to please consider the free Radio Public app for all your Parenting Roundabout listening needs. If you listen to our podcast on the app, we'll get paid a little for each listen and more if you listen a lot.
It's a great way to financially support our podcast without having to actually spend, money.
Now, back to the episode.
So, moving on to Trophy Wife.
Yeah.
The first episode we watched is called Halloween, and we got to see Jackie, wife number 2, in all of her costumed glory in a few editions.
Yes.
Here. And there was, I thought that usually, they make it out so like Jackie's the crazy one, and Kate is just trying to help. And in this one, Jackie had gotten Bert an Iron Man costume, which she interpreted as actual steam iron clothing person. And
so you get this image of Bert with this sweatshirt with an iron on it, a little tiny ironing board, and a little shirt on a hanger. This little peanut boy.
It was, it was funny if you're into that kind of pun, which Bert most certainly was not.
It was tragically clueless.
Right. And so, so Kate saves the day by purchasing a real Iron Man costume. But then Bert wants to go trick-or-treating with Kate, and Kate doesn't really get the hint that this is not a good idea, that Jackie's going to feel really bad. And she tries to say, Jackie, is it okay? And then she takes Jackie at her word for it, which I don't know. I just felt like it was kind of on Kate to say, why don't you come with us too? Or something. Instead of being like, Jackie, why didn't you say something? Well, yeah. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I just felt like she was kind of being swept along with it without really having time to stop and think. And Bert was so insistent. And she also, I think, liked, it feels good when there's 3 moms in the family to be the preferred mom.
Oh, for sure. Yes.
So she was sort of enjoying that for a minute. So, and there's a lot of Jackie in these 2 episodes. It's sort of Jackie heavy. And, all due respect to Michaela Watkins, a little Jackie goes a long way.
Right. Which is kind of what the theme of the second episode called The Date is, where Jackie is potentially going out on a date with somebody who...
Sad Steve,
who works with Pete. So this was out of all of these, I think this was the only one where the little tag at the very end was not good. Yeah. Because they always have a scene at the very end that's usually quite funny. And this one was just Sad Steve. And I was like, that was just okay.
Being awkward. But
yes, continued awkwardness from Sad
yes,
Steve.
Yes. In the Halloween one, there was a whole subplot of some kid who had egged and mooned Pete the year before, and now Pete was going to seize his Halloween candy and kind of put him through a trial, which he would divorce him. And I was just getting what was it, Greg Pikitis on Parks and Rec? It's basically the same situation, and in both cases, our heroes wound up losing, I think.
Losing to the punk kid.
Yes.
You are so right.
The punks win. I think that he just moved to Pawnee after that.
Right.
This kid. We never did get his name, did we?
I don't think we did.
Pikitis.
Yeah. Probably was.
And then in the second episode, we had another appearance by the always welcome Natalie Morales. Hi, Natalie.
Yes.
Nice to see you. And I enjoyed where that went.
That was a fun little turn of events, I agree.
She was flirting with the guy to get legal advice, and then he wound up with Jackie, and then she put a picture of Diane on Instagram, and then Diane had to play her beer pong for it, which, of course, she was great at.
Right, because Diane is good at everything, except for knowing what Instantgram is, which is what she called it.
That was very funny, and the daughter going, "You have to learn this stuff."
Right.
But that was an interesting pairing, her and Meg. So that's always fun, kind of mix things up and put people in different combinations. Mm-hmm. That was enjoyable.
Yeah.
So, very, very cute. Continuing, poor Warren having his dental surgery right before Halloween. I
believe I did that to my kids once. Not surgery, but just like a cleaning. Day after Halloween.
That's not right. That's okay, honey. I'll take this candy off your hands. Don't you worry about it. Right. But I like on the Halloween when they're trying to find Birds run off and they're trying to find him and they each grab a little kid in an Iron Man costume.
Right, a little Iron Man.
Yes, that's one thing that would never happen if Jackie's costumes got to be used.
That's true. No, there would be no other Ironing Man costumes out there. Only Bert.
So awful.
Yes.
Poor Bert. And she had that.
I always on Halloween to just what is the Iron Man of this year's Halloween? 1 year you get every little girl is Elsa or whatever. Iron Man's pretty popular, I would say.
I don't think my kids ever had the most popular thing. They were always sort of behind unpopular stuff. Mm-hmm. But,
well, you know how my son was the airport ramp agent type person. He was the aircraft marshaller. There were no other ones of those. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think my son was like a supermarket guy 1 year, just wore his dad's uniform. And
there you go.
So that was almost on the Jackie scale of random things. But he liked it. We had an Oreo costume 1 year.
That's cute.
Yes, a little foam rubber Oreo costume. So we're watching a Halloween episode in May, but thus is the rewatch life.
That's the way it goes.
Yeah.
So, Trophy Wife.
Yes.
We will carry on. From as much as I said that we would get Bradley Whitford, there wasn't a whole ton, except maybe in the Halloween.
The Halloween, he had that whole subplot, yeah.
Yes.
And in the second one, he had the whole dance of discomfort with his coworker dating his ex-wife, and being a little too detailed and doing things in his office that required mass sanitizing.
Re-scrub.
So he had some good moments, definitely. Yes. For the Halloween kid, I was hoping that the punk kid was going to do something to tick off Diane, because she could totally destroy him. But yeah, but no, it didn't.
Nope.
Good thing that he missed her with the egg, because that would have been.
Oh boy,
that would have been bad for him.
He would have regretted that.
I believe so. But tweaking her ex-husband, that's fine. He can do that all he wants.
Yeah, no problem at all.
Yeah.
So, should we move on to the West Wing?
Bradley Whitford vehicle number 2 for today. You got a fair amount to do in this. Mostly just looking worried and distressed, but being pecked at by a bird. The bird represented the annoying teenager in this. It was just a bird rapping against the window.
Right. So this was Life on Mars from season 4, and this is one of those ones that starts with the big bombshell in the first minute, wherein we learn that the vice president has resigned, and then it all leads up to that. Then we get to go back and find out, what happened.
I didn't get the shock value of that this time since I knew what was happening. Were you, what? And you saw that?
Yes, I was. Like, wait, what? What? Yeah. What? And who's this person? And they still didn't really explain, like, even though they played the scene twice with this woman arriving in a taxi.
She's just his staff. She's just from his staff.
I know, but, like, why does it matter that she took a taxi and the president had to ask her, why did you take a cab?
Yeah. I mean, I think that I think it was just sort of, he was just asking out of curiosity. She must have said what she was coming in so that they would let her right up to the door there, I imagine.
I guess,
so, I don't know. It was an interesting detail. Her car wouldn't start. She's having, like, the worst day of her life.
Right. My boss is residing.
So crushed. Yeah, I just love the weight of that scene of Charlie meeting her and walking through the halls and everybody kind of looking like they're sick to their stomachs as they see her go by.
Right, because they all know what's happening.
I liked this episode a lot. I forgot how much I liked this episode. The only thing I really remembered from it was that scene with Stu Winkle where CJ's on the phone with this guy and Joe is like laying out, connecting all the dots for her while she's listening to this guy prattle on. And there's just such a sense of dread, and it was just such a nicely done scene. That really stuck with me. But I forgot that all the stuff around it is pretty good too. And a great performance by Matthew Perry, I thought.
Yes. As they called him on the Western Weekly podcast, Joe Quincy, super sleuth.
That's right. That's right. And now do we have to do every time? As they did on the podcast every time they said his name. But yeah, I liked the fact that at the end, as they mentioned on the podcast, I was glad they mentioned it, that the vice president did say to him, "You heard a rumor." So then that makes it, that makes it clear that he kind of already knew there was a thing between this Helen Baldwin and the vice president, and that, that's why these things caught his attention. So that kind of, I didn't feel it was too super sleuthy, but then I've seen it before, so I knew. But
but he still had to connect, like you said, a lot of dots. Which he did in a really great way.
He did. That was, I really liked the way he did that. And I was laughing at the beginning when he keeps hearing these things, and then he gets this look on his face, like you see the end, the wheels turning, and I'm thinking, he needs himself a Spaldeen like Toby has. Because I made me think of 17 People, where Toby keeps hearing stuff, and then he's sitting in his office going, ka-chunk, ka-chunk, with the ball. Joe needed one of that, because otherwise it was just the wheels turning in his head and steam coming out of his ears. But, he needed a prop.
But because it was his first day, that look also doubled as, like, deer in headlights. Oh, my God, it's my first day, which is really wonderful the way they put that
and the
together.
Steam pipe trunk distribution venue reappears. They took down all the Gilbert and Sullivan paintings around it, apparently.
Maybe Ainsley took them with her.
Ainsley packed those up, left it in its pristine state.
Right.
For the next poor Republican lawyer who would occupy it. Aw. Yes. Such a cozy little nook. And
this was a good one, and all of the interactions between him and the various staff people, which just
and the hazing then turning into, oh my gosh, there's really something to this that's not good. It was funny, you and I both listened to the Little House on the podcast, and at the end of this episode, after Joe had this tour de force episode where he figures out this whole thing and really brings down the vice president, like in one day of work. And when it was over, I felt like saying, And we never saw him again. He is actually in one more episode, in episode 7 of season 5, but it's like he's in every second of this one, and then he's gone. So nobody ever mentions him. He's down in the steam pipe trunk distribution venue with the 9 boxes of memos to look through.
Right.
It's fun.
And they mention Oliver Babish in this one, but they don't actually, we don't see Oliver
pay for the actor
as Oliver Babish. So.
Conveniently out of town.
Right.
But, and then we have, as comic relief, poor Toby and his salads. And I loved the line, "You could cover this thing in barbecue sauce and it would still taste like the ground."
And just the exasperation of having Charlie in his office just talking to him.
And eating a roast beef sandwich.
Right. He's like, "Remember when you said that I wouldn't even know you were here?" I know you're here.
Yeah, that was, we were talking with Trophy Wife of different combinations of people. I don't know that there's ever been, I guess they talked about it a little bit on the podcast, that there was a pool game at one point, but there's not been a lot of scenes with just Toby and Charlie by themselves. That's like a combination they've never flipped to, and it was great. It was very funny, and Charlie's closing line to get Andy to marry him or kill himself, which seems to be what pretty much everybody was thinking.
Right.
Although sadly, well,
possibly a little hard.
There better be a third option there, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But so this is the last episode from the season that I do not dread watching, and quite a bit of season 5. So stay around a little while. Let's talk about that vice president again. Let's talk to him. Joe, what are you doing tomorrow? Let's follow you around the office. We don't need to see this other stuff. Yeah. I don't like where it's going from here.
Another Joe episode.
Yes, I'll just hang out with Joe in the steam pipe trunk distribution venue while all this other unpleasantness goes on. Just call me when we're at the Supremes in late season 5.
That's a long ways away.
It's a long ways. There's one other memorable episode that I liked before that. That one's not too bad, and then the Supremes is pretty great. But in between, there's a whole lot of learning the ropes of Sorkinese and digging out of the hole that Sorkin dug for them, which I'm not looking forward to. So, trying not to spoil, other than to say, I do not like.
Yeah. Well, it'll be the first time around for me. So.
That's right. Not that they're bad episodes. I just don't care for where the plot
went. Just not your thing. So, well, next week, that one is called Commencement.
Yes, it is.
So we will continue with, of course, Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah.
And
3/4 of the way through the season now.
I know.
Next week we will be.
Right.
Not right.
Episodes 8 and 9 of Trophy Wife. The first one is called Lice and Beary White. And the second one is called Russ Bradley Morrison. And that's going to be it for our round 2 today. Please subscribe to our Parenting Roundabout podcast so you won't miss any of our episodes, including our daily speed rounds and weekly group chats. As always, you can find recaps, links, and an opportunity to comment on our website at parentingroundabout.com. Bye, Terri.
Bye, Catherine.
Goodbye, everyone.